name is Kayla Brown. Please excuse the fact that I've pre-written what I'm going to be saying tonight. I'm about 6 months pregnant now, and so pregnancy brain might kick in at any moment. Tonight I'm more or less filling in for Sylvia Milligan, whom you all know. She wanted desperately to be here, but she's at a veterans reunion with her husband over on the East Coast, and so she needed to be with him tonight. Like Sylvia, though, I am a resident of Shasta County and of the city of Anderson. To my knowledge, Sylvia has been here much longer than I have, though. She moved here before I was even born. But I've been here for about 20 years now, here in Shasta County. My husband was born and raised here. Both of my sons have been or will be born and raised here. I moved away only to go to college when I taught in Russia, and then while my husband was stationed with the United States Army back in New York. We're a military family. My husband's law enforcement here in Shasta County. This is where our roots are. This is our home. We love Shasta County. We love Northern California. And that's why we feel so strongly about the state of Jefferson and why we've come to you tonight. Also, it is important to note I'm a graduate student in the discipline of American history. And my graduate thesis is on separatism and statehood from the American Revolution to present. So I've been very much interested in the state of Jefferson for about 15 years now. Another reason why I'm very much for the state of Jefferson. I hope that you will be too by the end of this presentation. I'm not as eloquent as Mark Baird, so I can only endeavor to do the subject matter tonight, partial justice, in his absence. But to put the matter to rest simply, the state of Jefferson is viable financially. Heads of cities and counties all across the North State have stated this, and we would like to commend Steve Baird for his accurate financial viability model, which is available for all public viewing online at soj51.net. It is a variable model, so if you wanted to put in your own tax structure, you can, just to see how much the state of Jefferson would be viable or how little viable it would be depending on what our tax structure actually is once Constitutional Convention meets. I would also like to note that Steve Baird, who put this together, is not just some country bumpkin who decided to play with finances. He's currently running against Senator Ted Gaines for the District 1 Senate seat here in Northern California. So he knows what he's talking about. The method that we're using to create the state of Jefferson has been done before, and it is entirely constitutional. The question isn't whether or not we should create the state, it's when we should create the state. The question is whether or not we're willing to work in and for a state that will be responsive to the needs of the people in that state, or continue on the path that we have with California and honestly succumb to the tyranny that California has become here in Northern California. Many will say that tyranny is a word that is meant to stir emotions, but I believe that the word is very apt. You see, the origin of the word tyranny came from the 14th century, and it was defined simply as cruel or unjust use of power. How many laws need to be passed that remove our liberty before the heavy hand of Sacramento becomes cruel or unjust? How much of our highway taxes need to be pilfered for San Francisco condominiums before it becomes theft? How many of you pay a tax, namely the fire fee, that is meant only for rural folk and not distributed among Californians equally? How many of our children must be subjugated to vaccinations that may be dangerous, and we no longer, as parents, have a say in our children's own health? At what point is tyranny tyranny? Jeffersonians say that tyranny is what California is today, and that's why we've come to you, our elected body, to stand with your people and support the state of Jefferson, because our tenets are simple and they're completely bipartisan. First, we want equal representation as our forefathers compromised, as our federal government is structured, and which has been upheld as constitutional by the Supreme Court, who backtracked on their 1964 Reynolds v. Sims ruling on more than one occasion. In a recent Record Searchlight article, a comment was made that our forefathers did not intend to have equal representation. But there was a lot that our forefathers didn't intend. First, the majority of our forefathers did not intend to go to war with the greatest country in the world at that time. They did not intend to separate themselves from their mother country. When they did intend to do this, some intended to set up a monarchy. The intentions in the Articles of Confederation was to last forever. The intention of the Constitutional Convention of 1787 was to set up a government whose sole purpose was to manage three specific aspects of government, not to lord over the states. The compromise that to some in California seems outdated was intended to protect the rights of the minority, and much of that minority is here in Northern California. That compromise is the only reason that we're not speaking British English today. German, French, Russian, any other language. Because if that compromise of equal and proportional representation did not occur in 1787, we wouldn't be here today. But that compromise has been forgotten, and because of that, our rural counties are suffering. Our people are suffering, our children are suffering, and in a few generations, there may not be much left here in Northern California. That is why we must do something now. The second tenet of the state of Jefferson is a state government where the majority of the power rests with the county, so that the state can focus on what the state does best. This would allow a maximum potential for counties to be responsive to the specific needs of their people. For example, Trinity County recently had devastating fires. If we were the state of Jefferson, then Trinity County would be able to allocate their funds more directly to helping those who lost their homes and their livelihoods. I imagine that Trinity County would put more funds into fire prevention and into proper forest management, so that when another fire breaks out, as they tend to do up here, our firemen would be able to access those fires and keep them from turning into vast areas of wasteland. This line of thinking can be used for any county situation or even any city situation, especially here in the city of Anderson. Our third tenet is liberty. As simple as the notion is, we believe that we as human beings are equal. We believe that all human beings should be given the same opportunity to succeed, and that given those opportunities, people will. There are many issues that Republicans and Democrats can't or won't agree on, but the state of Jefferson isn't one of them. This is not a Tea Party organization, and we're not backed by any political party. We are people wanting the best for our kids so that they can grow up and have the liberties that millions have shed their blood for. California has simply forgotten the principle of liberty because they're trying too hard to legislate morality. So tonight we have brought you more than 2,000 signatures of Anderson City residents. We also bring you over 50 signatures of business owners in your jurisdiction who support the state of Jefferson. Wynn Carpenter actually has the exact numbers for that. And we're here tonight, and those who couldn't be here but have signed their support ask that you, our elected body, represent the people of Anderson and agendize this item for a vote so that we may vote on the state of Jefferson because we lack representation. You have the authority to do this, to vote on this matter, because you are an elected body of leaders. You can feel confident in your vote because of the following federal and state constitutional provisions, namely Article 4, Section 3 of the United States Constitution, which states that new states may be admitted by the Congress into this union, but no new state shall be formed or erected within the jurisdiction of any other state, nor any state be formed by the junction of two or more states or parts of states, without the consent of the legislatures of the states concerned as well as of Congress. And then Article 2, Section 1 of the California Constitution itself states that all power is inherent in its people. Government is instituted for their protection, security, and benefit, and they have the right to alter or reform it when the public good may require. The public good of the proposed state of Jefferson demands change. California has little regard for those living in the state of Jefferson. Mismanagement of our forests have left thousands without homes this year alone. Mismanagement of our water resources have farmers tearing out their crops and ranchers downsizing their herds. Our taxes rise every year as if these tax hikes will be able to cover the mounting debts our children will inherit and be swallowed by. The per-mile tax will decimate our rural counties. Even now there's talk of our gas tax rising up to 80 cents more a gallon. There is talk of an additional fee when registering our vehicles to the tune of almost $70 more per vehicle. If I'm forced to live within my means, why can't our government? Here in Anderson, you, our city council, have done a miraculous job being fiscally responsible, and I commend you for that. But what happens when California defaults on their public employee pension funds, namely CalPERS and CalSTRS, and you're left footing the bill or declaring bankruptcy? You are responsible. This city is responsible. Your residents are responsible. Please agendize us and vote us into a state that will also be responsible. Thank you.
Thank you.